Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today I'm coming at you with a top 5. It's been a bit of a while, but well, we're back. Today we're going to move away from Warhammer 40k and we're going to talk Age of Sigmar. This is going to be my top 5 pros of Age of Sigmar. I like Age of Sigmar, okay? I'm going to put my hands up. I like it. We like it as a group. And it has a load of good points, and today we're going to be covering the top 5 good things about Age of Sigmar. Now, of course, there are problems with this game, and we'll talk about that probably in a future top 5. Just remind me to do it, because I have a terrible memory. So, without further ado, let's get into my top 5 pros of Age of Sigmar. Coming in at number 5, we have the models. Holy goodness me, those models are beautiful. Say what you will about the Stormcast Eternals looking a bit like Space Marines. Okay, but God, they're pretty. And the Khorne Bloodbound, if you've seen the New Age series, are so pretty. Like, just wow. The new Everchosen who have just come out at the time of recording this video with Archaon. I'm not the biggest fan of the Archaon model, I'm going to go out on a limb. But the Everchosen as a race look pretty good. The Seraphon, I don't think they've got enough yet, but they looked alright from what I can see. Stormcast, but I really like the Celestin Prime's model, and I really like, I cannot remember his name, the Stormcast hero with a bow. I think he's like a flying archer. I cannot remember his name, but I love that model. And we're going to talk about why that in itself is really awesome a bit later in this list. But on their own, the models are awesome, and when they're painted well, they just look beautiful as hell. So, that's number 5. Let's move on to number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have the rules, or the simplicity of said rules, I should be more specific. Quite simply, this rule set is as pick up and play as you're ever going to see. Which is great, because we need people playing this game. Warhammer Fantasy, not many will like to admit it, was dying. It needed something to give it a kick up the butt and get it going again. And one of the reasons it had, it was so damn complicated. Age of Sigmar strips all that complicated BS away. Here's the basic set of rules, go. And every war scroll is self-contained rules. You never have to refer back to the rule book when you're doing a game of Age of Sigmar, nor do you have to refer to another war scroll or a compendium, because they're all self-contained, which is really useful. What makes that so awesome is that, of course, people are attracted to the game by how easy it is to play. People in our gaming group, it was just me and Kieran to begin with who played Fantasy, and now there's 4 or 5 of us looking into Age of Sigmar. 2 of us who play it outright, a third who's working on, and another one who's debating. So we're in a really good spot for getting players into the game, and Age of Sigmar's done a really good job of that. So that's number 4. Let's move on to number 3. Coming in at number 3 on my list, I have how close the games are, combined with the amount of bloodshed that goes on in them. So, from our Age of Sigmar battle reports, if you want to go and have a look at them, there's a playlist in this video will also be part of the Age of Sigmar playlist. You can go and check that out in the description. You will see that most of our games go quite long. And that means that, well, A, the death count just goes up and up and up and up and up, which is awesome, because there's something really visceral and gratifying about looking at a board at the end of the game and seeing basically nothing left. There's just something gratifying about it. Maybe I'm just messed up in the head. Don't know. Anyway, the reason that's so good is because the games often allow the game to get to that point. The rule set and the balance, which is obviously not perfect because Ogre's OP, allows the games to go long and be a lot harder to discern a winner early on. Like, the amount of times that turn 4 has swung a game has been crazy. And it has never been, we have not had a single game in which a player has been tabled after we stopped experimenting. Once we got out of the experimental phase, like our first games, we never had games where people got tabled. Which means the game is close, it's well balanced-ish, and the model count is irrelevant. As long as you balance it well, models are going to die on both sides, and it's a lot of fun. So that's number 3. Let's move on to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is something a little bit more personal to me. It saved Warhammer Fantasy. Yes, I went there. To me, AOS single-handedly saved Fantasy. Because Fantasy was going to die. Okay? Fantasy's player base was declining. I'd stopped playing, Kieran had stopped playing, nobody at our gaming group was playing, and while that's obviously anecdotal, the same thing was happening across the hobby community. There were obviously pockets where it was doing really well, but as a whole, sales were probably dying and figures were going away. With Age of Sigmar, it's all back! People are getting back into the game, and I really, really have to thank AOS for that. It is fan-bloody-tastic that this universe that Games Workshop so lovingly crafted like 30 years ago is still alive and kicking because it got revamped. Yes, okay, it's not the same universe, but at least it's something. And I have to really commend Age of Sigmar for that. But to me, there's something even better than just actually saving the game. Age of Sigmar could have been introduced without Fantasy, and this would still be top of my list. So let's go and talk about the top pro, to me, of Age of Sigmar. And coming in at number 1, my absolute top pro for Age of Sigmar is allies. It sounds a little bit odd, but hear me out. Because codices and detachments don't exist, because you're not confined to what units you can take literally anything. Which actually leads into the fact that of the top, the 5th and 4th on this list, number 5 being that the models were so good, means that you can just pick whatever models you like the look of, and like, bang, they're in my army. And that's fine. Nobody's going to stop you, particularly if they're from your faction. Like, Order, Chaos, Death, Destruction. Like, we and Kieran were having a discussion earlier about Wood Elves. And I don't really like most Wood Elf models, but I really like the idea of Dryads. Okay, I'll just buy a box of Dryads. Bang, they're in my army. Done, no problem. And number 4 being the fact that the rules are so well contained, in War Scrolls, as being part of that, means that you don't have to go out and buy a second codex just to use that pretty unit. The Age of Sigmar app is free. I've got it, and you can use it to just put a list together. And you have all the War Scrolls in there, with the exception of formations from compendiums. That's it. The only thing that's missing is formation. You get any units War Scrolls, particularly for the armies that haven't been redone yet. You can get their War Scrolls basically for free, allowing you to stick them into your army, get their War Scroll, which is completely self-contained, and go. Which is absolutely brilliant. It adds so much flavour and variety to the game. For example, it may be that a powerful sorcerer has bound a greater demon to his will. You don't like demons, you don't like demon models, but you just like the look of the Lord of Change. So, okay, my Sorcerer of Chaos has just bound this greater demon. Great. Or my Grey Seer's done it. My Grey Seer did something stupid, he took too much Warpstone and has summoned the Lord of Change. Why not? Or, in my case, my elves are all allied together, but they've gone through a forest, and now they've picked up a small gathering of Treekin and Dryads to join them. Because reasons. Or they suddenly joined a battle, the Dark Elves have joined a battle, and suddenly find that there's some Shadow Warriors who've scouted in and will just happen to be there, and, albeit begrudgingly, will give them a hand. I really like that aspect, that you can craft stories from random units being jumbled together. It's not possibly the most tactically viable option, because there's a lot of synergy in this game, particularly with wizards, and cross-matching different compendiums can be an issue, like Sylvaneth, Wanderer, Exile, Highborn, all have different synergies with each other. There's not just like a general elf one. There is an elf unit type, but it doesn't really have the same synergy, so the synergy is lacking, but the variety and the fun is there, and it's available to us in a way that 40k in Fantasy can't/couldn't do. And that's why I think Age of Sigmar is so awesome. You can take any models you like and make an army out of it. So, kudos for that. And that is my top 5 pros of Age of Sigmar. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Just remember, this is only my opinion, so feel free to leave your own list down below. We can have a discussion about that. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all those awesome things. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis, and until the next time, I will see you all again, folks.